Hello, and welcome to How to Be in the Spotlight with me, Rylan, the podcast where we explore the good, the bad, and the ugly of being thrown headfirst into the public eye. My guest today is none other than Love Island winner Ekin-Su. There's some strong language in this one, and some topics you might find upsetting. Ekin-Su,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for coming on, because it's been quite the time for you of late.
It's been a roller coaster.
And she's emerged.
I've emerged. I'm alive, guys.
She's alive. She's well. Listen, I want to start this podcast with a question I asked all of my guests, and that is, what does being in the spotlight mean to you?
Such a.
It's a tough one.
It's a question that I could talk for hours on, but it's also a question that hits a nerve. Like, you know yourself, being in the spotlight can be great, and it can give you a lot of platforms and great things, but then it can also make you feel very alone. You could feel isolated, no friends, you can't trust people. You always seek validation from, external things like social media. You get the trolling can get into your head. So that, for me, I can talk for hours about that.
Well, let's go back before Love Island, because I normally then go into that question of, did you always want to be famous? Is this something you've always wanted? Before Love Island, you were in a soap opera. Is that right? So tell me a little bit about that.
So before Love Island, I was in a soap opera in Turkey, in Istanbul.
Merhaba.
Merhaba. That's really good.
Thank you.
That's actually really good.
I'm looking for a Turkish man. So.
Turkish guys out there, if you're out there,
hit me up, yeah.
Single, they would love you, Rylan. They would love you. No, so I lived in Turkey for 2 years. This is literally just before COVID kicked in, and my life was kind of on. I didn't know what was going on. Do I give up acting or do I go back to England? And then there was one really interesting night. It was like karaoke on the stage. Everyone was drinking.
Stunning.
Beautiful. We loved to sing. Got up. I started singing Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. Obviously, I took no seriousness of this, just messing around. There was a guy sitting in the audience, to my surprise, filming it. And he noticed me singing. He then sent that to there was a DMC, like producer of Sony Music, Turkey. And he came up to me after and went, "We want you in the studio to record a single." And I was like, yeah, right. And I thought it was a scam. So I Googled who they were. It was real. Went in, met the top man. And he was like, "There's a single cover we want you to do. Will you do it?" And I went, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? And I'm not a singer. Started singing, recorded it. He went, "We're going to add another girl. We'd want you as a duo. I think it'd be, you're like the brunette, she's the blonde. It's going to capture a load of the attention." I thought, yeah, why not? So we did that.
It's like the new Pepsi and Shirley.
Literally. And I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it became a hit on YouTube and it went on Spotify. And then we did the whole music video. And then we did concerts after. And I was like, I'm not a singer, guys. Like, this is not my career. I did acting at uni. I need to pick a side. And then I thought, I'm not bloody Mariah Carey either. So I thought to myself, I'm going to continue acting. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm going to carry on. And then one day, the producer man invited me to a dinner where there was a guy who is a director of basically Turkish soaps for the channel. And he went to me, "You are interesting, and we want to write you a character for a soap based on your character of who you are."
Great.
They were like, "Ekin, we want you to play a tourist girl that is half English, half Turkish. Basically yourself, quite quirky. She's camp. You're going to be living 6 months away in the mountains." And I was like, yeah, sure. And I did that, went away, lived in a caravan. That did really well for a year. I'm just cutting the long story short. And then COVID kicked in. Now, COVID kicked in and everyone lost their jobs.
Yeah.
It was a horrible time. For me, I was locked in my flat in Istanbul alone. Mum and dad and brother were in England, couldn't see anyone. And then obviously the pandemic slowly sort of like eased.
Started opening up.
Yeah. And then I had this really weird dream. Now, my manager now I've known for 11 years, the guy I'm with,
Right.
Neil. And he said to me, like, kept saying you should apply for Love Island, Love Island. And I was like, not really. I'm an actress. Like, I don't want to do reality TV. I don't think I'm fitted for Love Island. I'm not blonde. I didn't feel like I was pretty enough to go on Love Island.
You're blind.
Like, I genuinely didn't. I swear I didn't. I still don't. So, like, I have doubts about myself. And then I had this dream, and I swear this dream gives me goosebumps.
Go on.
I had a dream that it was Love Island finals. It was me, a guy next to me, I don't know who he is, a blurry guy, a host that was blonde at the time, Laura. And all I remember, the host going, the winner of Love Island is, and just fireworks, and then my name. And I was like, I woke up and the dream felt so real. I rang Neil and I was like, Neil, I had this really weird dream. And he started laughing. He obviously took the piss out of it. And I went, okay. Weeks went by. I had an offer from a Turkish producer for a movie at the time. Neil calls me and goes, you should apply for Love Island. And then I don't know what it was. I think it was a one drunken night with my girls. We flipped this coin. Heads was going to be, I'm going into Love Island. Tails was going to be doing this Turkish movie. I flipped it twice and it was heads. I rang Neil and I went, okay, fine. We're going to do this application. We're going to go for it. I remember doing this application form and, it says write about yourself. I said literally the weirdest things. I like to pick my nose. I can twist my arm backwards. I believe in aliens. I'm the last one on the dance floor. Just weird stuff that I knew wouldn't go through. So I kind of didn't take it seriously. 3 months go by. I get a call. Hey, we love your application. Can we do a Zoom? And I was like, you're kidding me. Last minute call. I'm in the hairdressers, going blonde actually at the time. Ekin. You're in. No, just you're in. We want you. And then everything changed from there. And then,
So you walk into Love Island, one of the biggest reality shows on British TV. What's going through your mind?
Everything. Like, am I going to find someone on here?
Did you want to find love?
I did. Look, we all know, Love Island can give you a platform. I'm very honest. I'm not stupid. I knew that, but I didn't know I was going to go that far. And I didn't know I would meet someone so soon. And I thought the Love Island concept was great because you don't have to Google them or go on their Instagram and see how many girls they're following or all those things that I used to do. You don't know. Or boys they're following, And I thought maybe the producers might matchmake. You don't know. Because when you apply, you write the person you want.
Ideal type.
Yeah, like characteristics, loyal.
Looks.
Do you know what's funny? I didn't actually write looks on mine. I just thought cultural, family orientated. I don't mind how tall or small he is or where he's from. As long as he's nice.
Yeah.
And suits me and is funny. And there I go, causing chaos. I was so filterless. I was like, I'm just going to be me. I'm not here to make friends, seasonal girlfriends. I'm here to just find an attraction with someone. And I don't care if I look bad. I said, I'm going to go through all the guys, get to know them. It's the first week. No one's in love on the first week. You're in couples, but come on, it's not that deep.
No.
Davide didn't give me attention at the time. All right, Jay walks in, caused drama outside the world, which I didn't know. Kissed him on the terrace, did a crawl. That went worldwide.
Well, it was viral,
madness. That's something, again, I did spontaneously because I didn't want to get caught. It wasn't, something planned. I noticed that me and Davide kind of had something in common. I didn't know what it was. But every time he was just like fun to be with, interesting. Like mum and dad, they'd call us in the villa. And obviously, yeah.
You two stayed together.
Yes, we did.
And you won the show.
Yeah.
So that dream that you had, the fireworks with the blonde lady and the blurry guy next to you, he's now got a face. What went through your mind when you won?
I remember just people screaming my name and I just felt really happy. I've never felt so happy in my life. It was the moment I felt validated by people. I'm liked because I've always had trouble being liked. I've always had trouble being accepted.
Why do you think that?
Because of like my past and bullying and school and being isolated, moving home from like North London to Essex, feeling out of place, feeling picked on.
Was you picked on? Was you bullied?
Yeah, pretty heavily when I was a kid.
For what?
A lot of things. My name at the time, so I had to change my name at uni. The way I looked, how I had body hair on me, my background because I was Turkish. I had a lot of racism going on at the time. And just because I wasn't like everyone else, I didn't have the Prada bag, I didn't have the fake tan, I didn't have the blonde hair. And at the time, when I moved to Essex, I just remember the girls being so stunning and well looked after for a 12-year-old. And I
Yeah.
was just in my brat packed lunch with cheesy strings,
Yeah.
with my hair plaits and no makeup. And I idolised these girls, but I never felt like I fitted in. And I used to always just felt picked on. And I used to be still am a people pleaser, pleasing people at school, pleasing teachers, pleasing elderly people because I wanted them to feel that they got me as well.
So this people pleasing, that's very interesting, because as you've grown up, you've wanted to then get into a job which is pleasing people.
Yeah.
So do you think that stems back to that?
Yeah. I think the whole spotlight thing for what you asked, it's about always pleasing the public and whatever they want, moulding into it, shape-shifting into what they want. And I felt like all the reality shows I did, I was myself, but I wanted to be pleasing people so they liked me. The little times you see me when I'm being weird or quirky,
That's you.
that's me. And you saw that in Love Island when, the unseen bits, when I used to buy a cookie and put it back. Or when I used to talk about aliens or strange things and just made strange comments. I noticed that the audience liked that. That's when I felt, oh, hang on a minute, this feels great. I'm being accepted for once in my whole life. But again, Rylan, it never stopped. It carried on with the whole, the more the following went up, the more
The
paranoia,
pressure went up.
pressure went up. And always, when the next show comes in, well, how do I come across now? You always feel on edge, am I going to be liked on this show? Am I not going to be liked? And I'll truly say the only time you've seen me myself would probably Love Island and maybe The Traitors, because The Traitors was it was very me, like quite eerie, dark, was buried alive in a coffin.
Just casual for Ekin-Su.
Casual, do you know what I mean? Like, it was fun, but I would say have to be, man, it's hard sometimes always trying to be yourself. I wish I was careless like some people that just don't care.
How important is it to you to be liked?
I'm going to be really real. I'm still working on myself. It feels important to me, very important, actually. And I'm still trying to work out why. And I'm still trying to heal myself, getting psychological help. I believe it stems from childhood traumas, parents divorcing, the bullying, because it was extreme. It wasn't just picking on me names. It was like taking videos of me, being racist to me. So it still feels, I haven't healed. It's still inside me, that little girl.
For that little girl to win a show that is renowned for people being beautiful, renowned for people being liked, looking at them people going, I want to be like them. How did it feel for that little girl that was picked on in that moment? Was it validating?
In a very unhealthy way, yes. And I don't agree it's the right way, but it's hard. It's hard when you go from someone being size 16 to going through puberty, to getting attention, doing beauty pageants, to having toxic relationships, to still wanting to feel validated. During that time of winning Love Island, she felt free for that moment. And it was wonderful.
You win the show with Davide. You two are in a relationship. You leave that safety bubble of this is our world. That's over. But now the work begins. But you two now become a product. You're your own individual people.
Yeah.
But the selling point is you two. How did that affect the relationship when you left the experience of that bubble?
Firstly, I tried to not let it get to me, and it did. It's normal. It's going to.
Yeah.
Because brands left, right, centre. Ekin-Su, Davide. Oh, there's a Valentine's thing. Let's get you two to do an act or something like that. And it's always like, because the audience fell in love with the journey as well, the love story, the whole dynamic. And they want to see that coming out of the villa. Now, being in the villa and out of the villa is completely different dynamics. The real world is, it's not always happy.
You're on your own.
You're on your own and you've got to work things out as a couple. Pressure was coming onto us all the time. The pressure of always looking happy all the time. The whole social media, do a collab together. How many likes does this get? It all just becomes very artificial, which becomes unhealthy and not authentic. So You know, we had all those people, oh, you should have a YouTube channel. And I didn't at the time. And because I didn't feel that was authentic, it didn't feel real. I didn't want to document how I was feeling at the time because it's fake. If I'm holding a camera and smiling and saying, Davide, look, it felt fake. So
Why did it feel fake? Because how were you feeling?
I wasn't happy. I thought I was happy. I wasn't happy, and I was hiding it for a whole year and a half.
Was you happy in your relationship?
Now I look back and think I actually wasn't. There was times when I thought it was real. This is it. But then now I look back and I think I wasn't myself. I didn't look after myself as much as I used to. I was putting him on a pedestal over me. Like, my whole life revolved, I felt like, around him because I loved him so much and I wanted to make him happy. I was a people pleaser, pleasing the boyfriend. That's where it stemmed from.
Do you think that love went both ways in the relationship?
I'd like to believe it did, and I want to keep it that way because I don't want to believe even if it wasn't real, because mine was real. I was really in it, and I'd like to always keep that story like a fairy tale with bad ending, because I don't want to remember it as something really, really bad, although bad things happened, which will probably scar me forever. But it's just good to kind of let it go now and move on and wish him well.
To go through a breakup in the public eye is extremely difficult because you're obviously quite damaged and you've got a lot to deal with. But going through a relationship in the public eye where both of you are in the public eye, how much did that have an effect on the end of your relationship?
So much. It was like, there's a scenario that happened. I was at an airport with Davide at the time. We had this argument. Fans obviously were like noticing we were there. I had to wipe the tears off quickly, turn around and smile and, you know, have these pictures, put glasses back on and cry again. And it was like always pressure, like, be happy, do these interviews, say you're great, happy, you know, work. You're a great couple, you're the power couple. It's normal to have fights in relationships, or like, let's do an Instagram post and pretend everything's fine. Let's get validation from fans. But we weren't. You know, there'd be times I'd come home, I'd feel really lonely. We'd be in the same house, but I felt alone.
You were living together?
Yeah, I felt alone. I felt like he was in a different world, struggling with his problems. And there was me who wanted love, seeking validation, seeking affection, seeking cuddles after a long day of doing Dancing on Ice, when he was struggling his own, I think, you know, worries about his life. It was like going from the Manchester party scene to suddenly living with a woman. You're in the public eye, he's never experienced this, to choosing, well, I used to have fun as a man. He was like always conflicted with his life. And I always said to him, it's your life, you choose. You can go back to that life if you want, but I don't want to be in it. Because there was times when he wouldn't, and it was great. But then there was times when I would see things and I'm like, I need to accept that this isn't right anymore. Like, I can't change him. He needs to grow and figure it out himself.
Was you ready for that relationship, do you think, looking back?
No. I think I had my own insecurities, like we all do. It was an overwhelming whirlwind, and the mindset I have now, I would have put boundaries. I would have left maybe before. When I saw some stuff, I would have left. I would have put myself first, put my work first, family, of course. Didn't see friends a lot. I didn't see my mum and dad as much. I didn't have a social life. Like now I do. I post more. I'm active. I'm happy. Like, and it's sad that I was so gone.
You two were a brand together.
Mm-hmm.
You were earning a lot of money. You've got brands ringing you day in, day out, wanting you to do this collection, this job, that job. When the fairy tale, as you describe it, was over, how did that affect your job?
So it was like the brand dies, the couple dies, then you're on your own. And then there's times when brands would ring my manager and say, so this was just after we broke up recently in December, there's a job for you and Davide. I know you guys are broken up, but it's to do with being broken up. I was like, this is ridiculous. We're not a PR couple. I'm heartbroken. It's over. It means jobs should stop coming through.
So a company wanted you to be together, but not together.
Yeah, because
it
was about basically breaking up and going. No, it was about a holiday. You know, when you go abroad,
yeah,
and you've paid flights and you've broken up. It's like it was really, really, really weird. But the pay was really good. Like I'm talking digits.
Yeah.
And I said to my manager, I was like, I can't do that. I don't care if they offer this much. I'm not doing it. But I was like, it's hard to move on when people still associate you with your ex. And people send you like these little videos on Instagram and tag like moments of your whole life. And it's in your face. And forever it's going to be on YouTube or TV, like your moments, which is great. Leave that in the past. But it's hard when it's so raw. And then you get the press, and then you get Davide goes out to Dubai with girls, or it's like, I don't want to see it, but it gets sent to me and it's not nice.
Did you have people around you?
I'm not going to lie, I didn't. It's that, like, I've lost friends during this industry because I accused them of selling stories, like all these things that happened in my life that you became paranoid, and they get upset because I'm accusing them. And then you start to feel more alone and more paranoid, and you can't trust anyone. You start to lose trust in even family members. Like it becomes such a thing. Like you're walking down the street, someone's got their phone out. Are they recording you? You're talking to a male, opposite sex. What if someone reports that you're dating him when you're not? Like it's so much pressure. People in this platform understand, but someone who isn't maybe can understand in different ways, like in school or like at work, or when your manager's always picking on you. There's always some sort of pressure that we all can relate to. But it's just amplified when you're in the public eye. But so Big Brother, like I said, was the moment you saw me damaged. And I own up to it. And I wasn't myself on there. And I take ownership because I was so defensive. And everything was, I didn't want to hear about Love Island. You know why? Because it reminded me of him. I didn't want to hear about comments about OnlyFans because I related that to Davide and the girls that he cheated, the cheating going on, because they were OnlyFans girls. I never ever disliked OnlyFans. I have such respect for OnlyFans, and I think it's a great for women working, and I'm all for that. And I sounded like a hypocrite when I made the bikini comment. It was because he used to like girls with bikini pictures. It was nothing to do because of me. It was all related to him. So I was so defensive in Big Brother. And I look back, I don't even want to watch myself. It's just sad.
What made you want to do Big Brother? Because obviously people know I've got a long history with the show. I've been a housemate, I've been a host. And one thing that I used to get uncomfortable, I'd say, with was I'd go and see all the housemates before they went in.
That's nice.
But when you could see someone maybe wasn't great.
Yeah.
And the people around them or the managers, whatever, are going, yeah, go in, go on, off you go. It used to make me feel slightly uncomfortable. Do you think you were ready to go into the celebrity Big Brother house?
No. You know why? The only reason I wanted to do it is to prove that I am a strong woman on my own after the relationship. To prove to the world and myself I can do things on my own, strong and independent. I was faking it in there. It wasn't me. People are right. I wasn't myself because I was lying to everyone about how I actually felt. And I look back now, I wish I just didn't either A, do it or owned up to things I said. And, you know, I own up to the comment of saying it was edited. Like, I shouldn't have said that.
Look, in all fairness, I'm going to say this, and I've said it for years when I was hosting on Big Brother. Unless you say it or do it, we can't show it.
Exactly.
That's what I always said to all the housemates. And when people used to come on my show and say, oh, it's the edit, it used to wind me up. Because I'd be like,
yeah,
we can't
it's not.
edit words into your mouth. However, in context, let's talk about when you walked out of that house. What did you feel walking through that door? And I believe it's like a lift now, isn't it, that takes you up. Bring back the stairs. And for the first time in your reality career, shall we say, that's the first time that the reaction wasn't applauding. So what goes through your mind at that moment?
It felt like everyone from it just went back to my childhood. Every bully was in that audience, it felt like, cheering it on because I left. It felt like I failed. I may be worth the bullying. That's what I felt like. I didn't want the doors to open. I just didn't. I wasn't ready. I didn't know what to do. I was shaking inside, but I was like, just fake a smile, just fake a smile. And then there was obviously cheering. I remember some cheering, but then I remember seeing my publicist at the time and my mum looking so worried, like really concerned. And I was confused. Then the first thing I get told in my ear is you're cancelled.
By who?
By my mum. They edited you badly. That's the first thing I heard. So naturally, when I hear that, I'm thinking, I'm not in the reality yet. My head's still a bubble.
Did you think you'd fucked up?
Yeah, I did. I must have. In my mind, I thought I did nothing wrong because I was just being myself. But I did. I fucked up in a way where, excuse my French, I wasn't acting the way I used to. Like, I wasn't this confident girl who would own up to something. If someone said something to me in the house, the old Ekin would probably just put it over her head and leave it. But, if at the time when Zizzy made a comment about, but Love Island is a holiday, I got defensive and I was like, yeah, but it's not. The old me would have just, okay, that's your opinion. I respect you. Let's move on. But I wasn't. I was so defensive. I had this thing up. There was this comment made about, why is Ekin always up Sharon's, back? And
Arsehole.
Yeah. And I was like, guys, like, that is nothing to do with status. I just felt close to my elders. Like, I felt like, because of my culture, I've always respected elderly people. And I felt like it was like a warm spot. It was just because I felt safe and I felt protected and I didn't feel like I was judged.
So you walk out of this house, you see your mum, baby cancelled.
Yeah.
You've then got, I think from memory, 8-9 minutes.
Correct, yeah.
Of going to the next studio to go on the after show. Boom, straight back onto live television. So tell me how that worked.
Obviously, I have nothing bad to say for AJ and Will. So I really like her and, Will as well. So I had this positivity with them. But it's a shame I don't believe it was reflected back. I remember sitting on the chair and then they were just like, so, Ekin, do you know you said Love Island so many times? The first thing they said to me, I was like, huh? What? Clip goes viral on the screen of me just mentioning Love Island. I'm like, why is this shown? Why is this such a bad thing? What's going on? And then booing as this clip's shown.
And still at this moment, you don't know what.
No,
thing.
nothing.
It's
just, my mum's there losing her. She's like crying. She's like, say something in Turkish. She's like, Ekin, they did you wrong. Like, I can hear her shouting in Turkish. And I'm like, huh? So then I've got all these things in my ear. I can see clearly something's not right. The first thing they say, well, you evicted Louis. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, no. I'm trying to explain my reason for why I evicted him, which he did say when he was evicted, how he wanted to leave because he was bored.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do him a favour, but that wasn't shown. It wasn't shown. When I said about Louis being lazy, it was what Big Brother wanted me to say. So I said 4 times, it's because Louis wants to go home. You know how it is. Big Brother speaks and says, Ekin-Su,
that's not a valid
that's not a valid. Please say what everyone else has said about him being lazy. And I went, I'm not saying that.
Oh, that was said.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not saying that. Please.
So hang on, let me get this right. They had said to you to say this for a reason for a nomination.
Yes. I just said it because I was like, well, okay, this is what Big Brother wants. They know what they're doing. Whatever. I didn't know that was going to be potentially the roller coaster going down.
So you're sat in that chair now, you're live, you've got the hosts there, the audience here, your mum shouting in Turkish in the background.
Yeah.
I've told you this, I didn't watch Big Brother, but I got a message from someone who worked on the show that night that used to work with me and said, you need to see what's happening. And I tuned in and I watched part of your interview. And I have to say as a viewer, it was so uncomfortable to watch. And for someone who's been locked up for 3-4 weeks already to come out into that moment, did you feel like you were prepared for it? Did you feel like that you knew what you needed to say to make this better? Because you're the people pleaser.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden, these people that you've been pleasing for the last however many years are now not applauding, they're sitting in silence.
Do you know what? I look back at that, Rylan, and I think I did people please them because I said things like, apart from, saying it's edited, which I put my hand up and own up, I shouldn't have said that, being quite nice about it still. Like when I look at myself and I think, why didn't I say something? Why didn't I stand up for myself? And being on that chair when Leighton was making comments was so... I don't get it. I like Leighton. I've never had a problem with him. I thought he was great on Strictly. And all my opinions on him changed after that. And I thought, what horrible... Weren't you bullied as well? What a nasty thing to do to someone. People take their own lives by getting trolled. Like, I generally remember saying to one of the producers, you won't... If anything happens to me, you're to blame. Like, this is ridiculous.
What did you do when you got home?
They wanted me to stay at the hotel. I insisted I don't want to.
You want to go home?
I didn't want to look at my phone. My mum was like, I'm not giving you a phone because you're not in the right headspace. And the psychologist was just at the time trying to say it's fine. I was like, you don't know how I feel though. It's not fine. It's not fine. I feel like I've killed someone. That's how I felt. The reaction was like I've killed someone.
I get that. I know that
or
feeling.
I've been racist to someone, or I'm like, I get it. I'm not perfect. And I just didn't want to be around anymore.
What happened when you woke up the following morning?
I wanted to see my phone. They wouldn't give it to me. I was like, I want to see it. So I went online. Just horrible headlines. I think the Metro once did something about her career falling down or something like that. And I thought, what have I done? Like, I don't understand. And then I started to think, right, I'm not okay mentally. Crying every day. This is scary. I don't know how I feel. I'm worried. I need a psychologist. I need something because it's not going to go well.
Looking back at how bad you felt after Celebrity Big Brother, do you realise that you didn't kill anyone?
Yeah, I do now. And I realise that if I had a stronger mindset, I don't think I'd be affected maybe that much, I think, because I was still very weak. And I remembered from my ex-boyfriend, the names he used to call me would be in my head. I felt worthless. The cheating, when you get cheated on, you don't feel enough. You feel ugly. You feel comparing yourself to these blonde, beautiful girls. So I had this hatred about myself. So again, I wasn't ready, Rylan. I wasn't. And I have nothing bad to say for Big Brother. I think it's a great show. But you have to be strong and ready for it. And don't let comments get to you, and be fully yourself on the show. And when I was in Love Island, I was different. I was not as damaged. I wasn't swept up in this TV fame and trolling, and I was just careless,
You just used the word damaged.
Yeah.
Do you think you're damaged?
I think I am. Yes. I'm owning it. I am. I'm damaged from the whole experience of coming out, relationship going wrong, not looking after myself, going from one reality TV show to another, not putting myself first. But I'm on a road where I'm fixing the damage. It's going to take ownership. It's going to take recovery.
And if you don't mind me prying, like, what are you doing personally to sort of mend that damage that you believe you've got?
I'm getting help. Like, I'm getting psychology once a week.
Good.
I think I recommend it to anyone who feels like lost. It's a weird thing. I've been traveling a lot on my own and I feel good. I don't need anyone. I don't need validation from someone. I don't need to prove people I have friends, or I'm with this guy, or I'm in a relationship. I've sometimes sit back and think, wow, like I've done all this. I never used to have this. Like, just being appreciative and not being so negative about things.
You've said a lot this podcast about people pleasing, wanting people to like you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like you?
So the fact that I'm pausing will probably answer it. I don't know. I don't love myself fully yet. I don't. And anything someone says I'm very sensitive to, I'm like, why doesn't this person like me? why? What have I done wrong? What's wrong with me? It got worse, Rylan. It got worse in this industry, and it never used to be this bad. But again, there's helplines out there. There's, platforms, and know that it's not the end of the world always.
From a older hat point of view, shall we say, what you did in Big Brother that people had issues with and stuff like that isn't going to ruin you. Yes, I get it damaged you because we want to be liked, but it's not going to ruin you. You need to take that time to really focus on yourself and make yourself happy. And you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There's a question I want to ask you to finish this interview. And it's the exact same question I asked you when we started. What does being in the spotlight mean to you?
Being in the spotlight means to me always trying to look perfect, to be the best version of yourself, and feeling anxiety, I would say. And it is a lonely, lonely life to be in the spotlight. You can really lose yourself in the spotlight because you have no one to turn to but yourself.
You can ring me.
I will. We can go for coffee. We're local, aren't we?
We'll go for more than coffee.
Yay! Turkish kebabs?
No, absolutely. Merhaba. Ekin-Su, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Rylan.